Welcome to the 1457 podcast from Scotland, where golf began. We are the digital platform, and we want to inspire golfers from all over the world with their photography, short films, stories, and podcasts. And we want them to come to Scotland to play golf. I'm Stevie, your functioning golf addict, and I'm joined as usual by Malcolm Doug. Good morning, Malcolm.
Good morning. How are we?
Good. And Dave Kerr, fresh from a holiday from Florida, back to the Scottish climb. How are you, mate?
I'm terrific. It is beautiful. It is beautiful in Scotland this week, though. It's a beautiful few weeks of golf we've got coming up.
Is it not really up for us to judge whether you're terrific or not?
How do I look? I suppose. Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on that, I tell you.
Right, I'm going to stop this right there. The Open, we know the Open, it's a big one for Scotland this year, the 150th. So we want to do a special series of podcasts focusing on the Open courses in Scotland. You'll hear about our experiences of those courses, as well as on some of our pods, guests from the courses we're talking about. This week, we're travelling the breadth of Scotland. We're going to go from one side to the other. Troon and Carnoustie are our two Open courses for today. And I am going to volunteer Dave Kerr to give me some Carnoustie facts. He looks worried when I say this to him. Dave, put it in Google, get it in Wikipedia, mate, come on.
No, yeah, Carnoustie, again, it's just one of those absolutely classic Open venues, isn't it? First Open was there in 1931 with Tommy Armour winning it. Again, had some amazing champions over the years. Henry Cotton in 37, Ben Hogan in 53, who'd famously spent the 2 weeks beforehand practising on the links turf at Panmure next door. Then 68, Gary Player. The next one was Tom Watson, another terrific Open champion, winning one of his ones up here in Scotland. And then who can forget, particularly if you're Scottish, I suppose, who can forget Paul Lawrie's win in 1999? Probably not well remembered by French golf fans quite so much, but amazing for Paul, that one. And then 2007, Patrick Harrington, his head-to-head with Sergio Garcia coming down the last few holes and then into a playoff as well. Terrific stuff. And then more recently, the last Open to be held at Carnoustie 2018, Francesco Molinari with the win. Again, another terrific tournament. It's again, I think what they describe it themselves as what golf's greatest test, I think, Carnoustie. Often held up as one of the more challenging Open venues. Well,
in 99, did Tiger Woods not shoot 80 or something? I think that tells you all you need to know. But what was great though, on the flip side of that is Francesco Molinari playing on that, and it was burnt up. It was like proper links land, wasn't it? Because it'd been so hot that summer and really bouncy, which is great. Love to see that.
Classic Open stuff, is it? Classic Open stuff.
Exactly. I would like Malcolm to tell us about Royal Troon's Open history, please.
Royal Troon, Arthur Havers won first in 1923. Troon's funny for me because I never know whether it's where you play cowboys and Indians or whether it's a golf course, because I grew up on Troon and Victoria Drive, so I probably first played cowboys and Indians on the beaches, didn't quite nick balls, but it's a wonderful, wonderful test of golf. Bobby Locke in 1950, Arnold Palmer in 1962. I'm trying not to look at Mark Karklavecchia in 89, so before that, Tom Weiskopf. And the reason I'm not trying to look at 89 is I just got married, and Karklavecchia won it in the playoff, the three-way playoff, and I was sitting in the stand and I could see all the holes, and there was a big queue out down there. Someone's going to leave, aren't they? No one's that stupid, they're going to leave. And guess who had to leave? Because Mrs. Duck had organised dinner with a friend of his co-bride. And even Auntie and Troon said, "What are you doing back here? Really?"
Guess what, Malcolm? I was in that stand as well, so it's a small world. Yes. Because if you're up at the back of the stand, you could see all the holes.
Absolutely.
Which is brilliant.
Absolutely. And
I think you could see 1, 2, 17 and 18.
Who else was in that playoff? It was... I'm just trying
Wayne Grady and Greg Norman.
And I think the voice of rugby, who my memory's going again, putt 2, Peter Ellis, I think his commentary voice came through saying something slightly inappropriate, that they Heard on the tee, like that was
That's right,
not,
they did.
not
yeah.
quite such a good shot.
But the controversy then was that Kalkovecki was playing with square grooves, wasn't
That's
he?
right. That's
so
right.
he was playing with ping. I2 beryllium square grooves.
That's right.
And so he hit, he shot out the rough down the right hand side 18, quite deep rough, and it stopped dead. And that was the kind of thing. Well, if he didn't have those square grooves, that wouldn't happen. But I mean, Norman, to get himself into the playoff, he birdied the first 6 holes of the final round, which was amazing.
Yeah, the whole that again was pretty baked tournament. And then Justin Leonard in '97, Todd Hamilton 2004, and that year I had Roger Davis staying in the house, so it was great fun walking around with Roger. And he was one off the lead on the 17th on the first day, and he stuck it in the bunker and took a 6.
Oof.
And he then hit driver 2-iron to the 18th green. It was so windy. And an hour and a half later, we're rolling around the garden in the back of the garden with the kids. Because I mean, there was steam coming out your ears. How do you do that? They said, very simple thing. If you can't leave it back at the office, you can't play golf. And absolutely true.
Fair enough.
And then 16, the last one. The Jewel in the Sun number 2 with Stenson and Mickelson, and what a
Jewel in the Wind.
Jewel in the Wind. What a tournament! What a final round that was. It was
that's brilliant. I mean, that would have to be. I mean, I only know Jewel in the Sun 77 from history and videotapes, but I was there in 2016, and that was phenomenal last round. It's unbelievable golf.
Yeah, the other thing, funny story about that with Nick Price. I used to have a house in Troon. Nick Price stayed there, and he was a bit late coming in the plane. So I had a meeting with the Edinburgh Lord Provost, and I got stuck as to which one I was going to have to drop. So guess which one I dropped?
The wrong one.
The Lord Provost. Not dropping Nick Price. What a wonderful guy he is. What a lovely, lovely guy. I think Troon's it's a great place for an Open as well. I think it's but it's interesting. You go and play Troon. Every time I've played it or taken people who aren't members and so on, and I'm not a member but played it a bit, it's a course where someone's heads goes down at some point. I don't quite know why, because it's quite an easy opening stretch, you would think, but there's subtle and deceiving holes, and then it just gets tough, and you play up towards a postage stamp, and you see the guys all chipping back up to the screen on your fairway. What are they doing there? And 20 minutes later, you're standing in the same place, chipping back up on the postage stamp. I mean, what a golf hole that is, the postage stamp.
It's terrific. As soon as you get up on that 6th tee, though, you can then see the postage stamp green down in front of you. That for me, that's one of the best views I think in Scottish golf.
Yeah.
Is standing on that 6th tee, the 6th hole laid out in front of you, the 7th coming back at you. It's absolutely stunning.
It's it is a classic links, isn't it? Out and back, and it's like so many times. 'Cause I think Poulter, did he not? In 1 year, birdie a number of... No, I think that was in Muirfield. But there is a number of times where somebody has birdied like 4 or 5, the first 4 or 5, 6 holes, because you're short, downwind, and then you turn into it and it's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the old, out and back links golf. They're not that many that are quite so out and back.
Let's take a moment to... pay heed to, I'm sure he's a lovely man, but the worst ever major champion in the history of major champions, Todd Hamilton. So sorry, Todd, but
harsh but fair. Harsh but fair.
Harsh but true.
Come on,
I'm sure he's a lovely man. I mean, I think this.
What's the story? There
is a competition. Todd Hamilton, Ben Curtis. Mark Kalkovecki was probably a pretty good player. I would say he's probably not in that league, but between Todd Hamilton and Ben Curtis, Todd Hamilton's your man, isn't he? Poor Todd. Don't sue us, Todd.
I think, again, for what happened, I guess, for Hamilton was that and Curtis as well to a certain extent, his game just came together for 1 week.
Yeah, the right week.
He showed very little. There was very little, fanfare about him going in, and there was nothing about him afterwards. So it was really he just had a career-defining week, didn't he? Just one of those weeks where everything kind of goes your way, and you hold it together, and you put 72 holes together.
And that's what's happening more and more now with the quality of the players. They're so good. It's always coming down to where the ball bounces. Does it bounce left? Does it get a good bounce? You get about, because most of them can play 3-4 under. and then how do you get lower and lower and lower? I mean, and again, that's with links golf. Links
And
golf.
how do you handle pressure as well? I mean, you've got to be able to take the bounces in links golf, but it's also about how you handle the pressure. I can make the marginal differences between the top 100 players is very small in ability.
And what was he? I mean, Hamilton won a playoff with Else, right? You know what I mean? Like one of the absolute great Open champions, terrific career in front of him behind him and in front of him at that point for Else. And Todd Hamilton puts him away in a playoff. So, I think he parred. The 4 holes. Is that right?
I think that's right.
To win by 1 from Else in the playoff. Terrific, absolutely terrific.
Yeah,
absolutely terrific.
I mean, and then in another course that we're featuring this week, obviously featured a truly great win from Scotland. And actually, ironic that I'm not including Paul Lawrie in that as one of the least sort of deserving major winners, because I obviously don't think that's the case. Whereas in the other parts of the world, they probably would put Paul Lawrie into that bracket.
That was Tiger.
Paul Lawrie went on to be. Oh, was it? Paul Lawrie put him into the bracket. Although, to be fair, he played the Ryder Cup twice, won 8 times the European Tour, so I think he's in a different level of golfer.
Yeah.
And what a way to win that as well. Were you? Did anyone see that firsthand in '99 in Carnoustie?
No, just on the telly. And I think the description of it by Peter Allis was just legendary, and will go down as the all-time. I mean, what was he doing? I mean, I've not met Van der Velde. Apparently, he's a lovely guy, really nice guy. But what was his caddy doing? And you go back to the other week when your man won the US Open, and the caddy just told him what to do. I mean,
yeah.
And then,
did they not? Did Peter Allis not say give him a large brandy and mop him down after he'd been in?
Again, and so traveling with devil's advocate. It's worth going for a look, isn't it? It's worth going for a look to see if it's playable. But yeah, I think he dwelled over it a bit too long, and then I think, and maybe I don't know if it was Peter Allis's commentary, but certainly at the time, his brain was just fried. He just, you could see he was just lost. And I think, as you say, Malcolm, without trying to blame anyone, a good caddy puts his arm around them and says, "Right, come on, let's just get up and down from here. Take your medicine and let's move on." So yeah, what does he have? 3-shot lead standing on 18th tee.
I mean Wainwright Radar was he won the Scottish Open there, and he had a 3-shot lead, and he was playing against Sonic, and I can't remember which podcast was on. He said, the boys said, you pulled out a 5-iron, didn't you? To his reply, well, it was a par 5. Like it makes a difference to a pro golfer. but the point is, you got a 3-shot lead. Take the trouble out of play. And actually,
yeah, exactly.
Mr. Watson, I was lucky enough to walk around Carnoustie with Mr. Watson and Mark Carneville with a practice day for the seniors, and he was talking through his playoff in '75, because he had an 18-hole playoff in '75, and just talking about not going for the middle of the green, taking the trouble out of the way, where to miss, where to get up and down, to stay in position. Links golf, really important to stay in position. With some caddies in last night for the Scottish Open, and they were just exactly the same thing. If you've missed the green, you're out of position. You need to get back in position. And I think Carnoustie is one of those courses you really, really have to do that. I mean, it's got a reputation of being hard. It's got another name for being tough. But what a closing stretch for an exciting Open finish.
The 2018 Open at Carnoustie was brilliant. It was so exciting. We had Rory in a charge, Tiger in a charge, and Molinari keeping cool. It was brilliant. And then actually the Women's Open last year at Carnoustie was great to watch as well.
That's right. I think these two that we're talking about, they're the last 2 Women's Open venues. Is that right? Royal Troon and then Carnoustie. Is that Popoff? Sophia Popoff won at Troon, and then obviously last year. Was that 2 years ago? Right, sorry. Yeah.
And then Muirfield this year.
I think that there was. I think the ladies were asked, weren't they, where they wanted to start playing the Open Championships, the Women's Open, and they did say they wanted to play at the best courses. So they've definitely done that in recent years, haven't they?
So yeah, I mean, Carnoustie's just great. I mean, just going back to Tom Watson again, it was quite funny. The 8th, he was. He was probably 62, 63 when he'd done this after his not quite win, and. He said to his caddy, "What's the carry to the bunker?" And the guy said 260. He said, "Can all people hit it that far?" So he stands up and whacks it sails the bunker. He said, "Did I make that?" So I said, "Tom, old people can hit it that far. They just don't have the joy of seeing it anymore." What a lovely guy. Well, that was a memorable day for me. 5 hours walking around the golf course with a legend explaining links golf. A tremendous guy.
Troon is due to get it again soon, is it not?
A couple of years, yeah. It's on the next three. Year after next? Yeah, 24.
24. Yeah. So Liverpool next year and then back up to Troon the year after. I don't. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think they're planning any significant changes to the course. But again, it's just a classic venue, isn't it? And again, I'm going to challenge this. The opening stretch is easy. As a man that moves the ball from the left to the right, it's not an easy. That open stretch is not easy. I could all too easily be playing off the beach on that first one.
Yeah. The sea and the beach is not your friend, Dave Kerr.
That one at the turn. What's the one at the turn when the railway comes into play as well? Is that maybe the 10th or the 11th? 11th.
11th, I think it is. That's a tricky hole actually with greens.
Yeah, it's a lovely hole actually. Lovely. Yeah, I've got my numbers wrong. It's 7 when you're looking down, and then 8 sits there, doesn't it? And then 9 takes you into the corner.
By the caravans.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
I'm dyslexic, and I played that hole one day, and I saw it 137. So I hit an 8-iron, and I wasn't even close. What the hell? Went back and looked. It was 173. I check a lot harder nowadays.
I don't think you make a good caddy.
No.
Malcolm.
Well, I've seen that. I saw that happen to Roger Davis at Carnoustie at Turnberry in the Seniors Open, and there's a 100-meter yard marker. The ball's 20 yards closer. The caddy paced it and told him 120. And he hit it 120 straight to the back of the green and wasn't very happy. I mean, you would think, some of that experience would just look and see, but big trust in caddies.
Interesting when you mention the caravan park there, because essentially just on the other side of that, that's where Prestwick is, isn't it? So I think the members of Prestwick and Troon play a match against each other every year. Kind of cross-country match where they alternate, but say 1 year they would play 1 to 10 at Prestwick, then walk through the caravan park and play the last 8 holes then at Prestwick. 1 to 10 at Troon, and then play the last 8 holes at Prestwick, and then have nice liquid lunch, I think, in the Prestwick clubhouse, and then play 18 holes back again. So it's, I think, again, because of the way you access the two golf courses, it feels like they're very far apart, just because of the roads you have to take to get between them. But they are maybe a kilometre, less than a kilometre, maybe
very
walk
close
between the two, if you kind of cut through.
Yeah, very close, indeed.
Great golfing land there, if you think about that. So you got
almost as good as Scotland's golf course.
Oh God. Speaking of which, I was driving.
You did set me up for that.
I was driving to East Lothian yesterday, and I got to East Lothian, and then I got a big sign, and I was waiting for it to say Scotland's golf course, but it had some other tourist patter underneath about the sea or something.
Oh, the tourist put the golf country or something.
It wasn't golf related. I was very disappointed. I was like, I better get Malcolm onto this.
We got plenty of Scotland's golf coach sides, don't worry. But no, I mean that Ayrshire track is. I mean, you can walk from golf course to golf course, and it's wonderful. There's just not quite as many championship golfers as East Lothian.
Well, let's for our listeners, let's work it from Prestwick. So you get Prestwick, Royal, Troon, Brassey, and then you've got Western Gales overlaps both Brassey and Dundonald. Then Glasgow Gales. Any more?
No.
North of Glasgow Gales?
Well, you've got Irvine Bogside's not that far away.
Oh, and Irvine Bogside would probably be the next one.
That's a cracking golf.
That's a great strip.
Only two par threes. Oh yeah, no, some great cards. Yeah, Bogside was a qualifier. I think it's a wonderful golf course. A bit sad we don't do the regional qualifiers, the kind of local course qualifiers anymore. And it makes sense.
Was it not Fairmont that were playing this for this Open?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think they're about 3 in the UK, and now they're 3 or 4 weeks before.
A guy I used to play with, his uncle was a pro from Jersey, and he was in the final qualifying at Glasgow Gales. And I remember travelling to watch him try and qualify at Glasgow Gales, and there was like high caliber players kicking about. I'm sure it was Colin Montgomery was there, whatever.
But the problem was they had to drive into the area the week of the Open, try and get accommodation where a lot of places are priced out if they can get it. So that this is the mechanic, and they don't know if they're going to be playing or they're not going to be. In advance, it probably makes sense, but it is a shame that these local courses aren't open qualifiers anymore. But they have been, so they still retain that status.
Well, absolutely, and they keep telling you about it. It's big signs.
Indeed.
Well, I think we're rounding up our trip round the golf courses, the open courses of Scotland, and I think what we should maybe do in a future episode is come up with our best open course, best open championship in a Scottish golf course, and some other awards. How many times Malcolm can mention East Lothian in a podcast?
Maybe a wee eclectic 18, Stevie.
There you go. That's it. You've set the challenge. That's a great idea. Like it a lot.
And I tell you what, the listeners could tell us what you think on Instagram or Twitter.
Well, actually, we are on social at Where Golf Began across the various platforms. We've got our own website, www.scotlandwheregolfbegan.com, and you can email us, info@scotlandwheregolfbegan.com, and tell us what you think about your favourite golf holes on open courses in Scotland. Cheers.